Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
Good morning, I'm Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
And stashed away in the case over there is
Doodle Bob.
Doodle Bob.
Doodle Bob.
Yeah, right.
I hope
Doodle
she tries
Bob,
to get
doodle
out.
Bob, doodle doodle Bob, doodle Bob, doodle Bob, doodle doodle Bob, doodle Bob,
Stop it.
doodle Bob, boom, boom, boom.
She may actually be impressed with that.
Yeah, she will be.
Anyway.
Nobody else out there is.
You know,
They don't know we have a dog on the stage.
Dog on the stage.
that's
Y'all
right.
be
There's, matter of
surprised.
fact, that would count Doodle Bop. There's 1, 2, 3 dogs on the stage and one fine-looking cat.
That's
Oh,
right.
bless your heart.
That's right. That's right. John and I are lucky.
Yes, we are
You
lucky.
are so kind, so kind. You will be so surprised that I actually watched the Super Bowl.
Did
Well, you picked
I
the worst
did.
game of the year.
I know,
to watch.
but I did. I disciplined myself and watched it.
It was if you like defense, it was a defensive.
It really was.
It was
Yeah,
a
it was.
lesson in defense.
A lot of
Incredible.
hoopla going on, but yeah.
Well, it was a
I
lot of
watched it.
hoopla. The commercials, I'm still out on the commercials. They just weren't quite as.
Exciting as
Yeah, they really.
They really
Did you see
were.
the Jack Daniel commercial, by the way?
The
I
Jack
I
Daniel
totally
commercial?
missed that.
I didn't see it either.
And
I
I
know it's a
wanted to
big
see that
deal,
because there
yeah.
was some talk about that.
Yeah.
And,
What was it?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
maybe somebody here has saw
Who
it.
saw the Jack Daniels commercial? I don't know.
They were so busy. just
But
sitting
Harrison
on-
Ford, they were talking about Harrison Ford, and he had a big commercial about his dog was ordering food from Lexa.
Yeah.
And when,
I saw that.
and it was funny. He looked at that dog and say, "Don't you do that again." And all of a sudden at the end of it, he goes outside and there's this guy pulling up with a truck with a pallet full of dog food on it.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, it was good. It was just a very, very different ball game. But Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, that's three out of the last 5 they won.
They've won. In
Pretty
total of
exciting for
6.
them.
Total of 6,
For both of them, unbelievable.
and 6 in I don't know what.
Especially, Tom Brady's 41 and still
Yeah.
performing. It's,
So and Belichick's just a genius.
yeah.
So he's
Yeah,
just
he
a
is.
defense.
I'm
He's just
going
a
to take your word
genius.
for it.
Yeah.
He must be.
He's the best that's ever done what he does,
Yeah.
bar none.
Yeah.
They can battle about Brady, whatever they want to say about him and some of these other quarterbacks, but Belichick is
He's
the
the
best
man.
that's ever done it,
Right.
no doubt.
The thing that impresses me about Brady, who makes a ton of money, probably $20 million a year, but he's done that for a long time. But his wife makes more money than he does.
Can you imagine?
Well, and Brady,
Poor thing.
Brady, where a lot of these quarterbacks are going out there and they're re-signing up for $100 million, 120. He's probably one of the middle tier in pay.
Yeah, I would say so.
He sacrifices his pay to get the teammates have to leave money to get the people
get
they
the
need
people
for
they
that
need.
team to be
Yeah.
successful. Because how much money do you need? He's got all the money he needs. His wife makes plenty of money. He's all about that team, and that's what they all are.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty cool.
Kind of like Peyton. All he does is fly around there and go to football games and stuff he likes to do. 'Cause
Now, what did he
doesn't-
showed up in something?
He was
in a
in one of the
commercial.
Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah, he was in a commercial. They were throwing football.
That was a hilarious
That was
commercial.
funny. Yeah, that was funny and very hard to put together. I would
Well,
think.
and all those people, all those superstars, and I mean, they were diving into cakes and tables and tackling one another.
I'd hate to guess what it cost to put that commercial on.
They probably didn't. The production cost was probably pretty high.
Yeah.
But they probably didn't pay those people anything.
Yeah.
They said, "You're going to be here."
Well, yeah, because they were all.
They're all ex-football
Yeah,
players.
NFL
Well, not all,
players.
some of the young guys were there
Yeah,
too.
right.
But it was fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun
It was
and
just fun,
funny
yeah.
and a good thing, yeah. So speaking about funny, you see this right here? You know what that is? Look at it. That is probably the biggest eraser that I have ever seen in my life. And it says on it, "Let's pretend this never happened." That was given to me by my wife. So does that tell you anything
She
about
might be trying
this
to tell you
old boy?
something. Might be trying to tell you something.
Isn't that
I'm
great?
going to try to erase you.
Yeah, isn't that great? I need that. I've needed that for
That's
years.
good.
What took you
That's
so
clever.
long, honey?
That's a great slogan on that.
Yeah,
thing
it
there.
is.
Because I mean, all of us have had that moment where
know.
let's pretend.
Let's pretend this never happened.
Let's just pass this by.
Yeah, have you've had those kind of moments? haven't you,
Everybody's
Peggy?
had those kind of moments.
Yeah.
But the important thing is every day you get a new start.
Yeah.
You can start over every day
Right.
of your life.
Yes, you can, if they'll let you.
Yeah,
You can.
Yeah, you can. But guys, a little bit different.
That's not just guys. It's guys, girls. It's all. It's all.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to get into this, but now that we've done that,
Have you done an epistle on this?
I'm always an epistle.
Well, let's hear it.
Judgment can be influenced by ideology, bad information, jealousy, self-importance, and anger. It is wise to judge yourself before you deliver a verdict on another.
Absolutely. You spoke the
Now,
truth right
to go
there.
along with that,
You got a good one?
how old is old enough to be grown? Hobbits come of age at 35. Americans say at 18 you can die for your country, but you can't drink a beer. Who is wise enough to set the parameters? The media, the institutions, preachers, teachers, or the bright light that shines through your soul? Only we know when and where we reach the age of understanding. Nobody else should state the date for one's inner awakening. Surely not politicians.
You might want to hang on to that. You may have said more than you meant to say.
No, I said exactly what I mean to say.
That was good.
You know?
John really can be quite frank about that,
I know.
and I'm always impressed about how he controls that on this show.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm in
because
charge
I know
here.
he's got a strong
Yeah.
opinion about it. You know.
Well, you know, it to me, it is the thing about it. It's just getting so mean-spirited out there that, you know, is anybody ever going to be able to make a mistake in their life ever?
Right.
No matter
So-
what age they are. At 5 years old, you went behind the door and went to the bathroom. If you try to run for office sometime, that'll come back and haunt you.
It will.
I
Absolutely.
guarantee it. You know, when I wonder if the woman at the well would get stoned today, or if the tax collector Paul, who was laying beside the road, and the Good Samaritan picked him up, and he turned into a wonderful proclaimer of the faith. I wonder if he'd get stabbed and kicked in the ditch today. You know?
Yeah.
We don't forgive anybody for anything anymore, and I just don't think that's fair.
Well, it
I think
really
you ought to
isn't
be able
fair.
to wake up and
If you don't learn,
have a better day the next
If you don't learn
day.
to forgive, then you only destroy yourself.
And those around you.
Well, yeah,
And those around you.
you do
So,
need to learn forgiveness.
get over
I
it.
agree.
Well, you know, in today's world, everybody is so politically divided, and from one side to the other, and the reality, people get mad about that.
Oh, heck,
and
yes.
frustrated about that, and nobody's going to change anybody's mind.
Right, well, the
That
beauty
you
of the
just-
democracy is that there's, more than one opinion, and
Oh, yeah, of course.
so
You know.
Well, what was it though the other day? There were 3 different groups having a protest up in Washington, all in the same place. And they were about 3 different things, and they were all mad at each other because the other one was protesting. But they were protesting too.
And they were protesting
You know,
too,
so
so-
it's gotten
Yeah.
beyond bizarre.
It's been that way for a
long
long
time.
time. A long time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say since the 90s, it's kind of been that way, just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, And, I ran, as you know, for office one time. And,
Yeah.
I got hammered pretty well by some things that, some of which weren't true. And they say,
Oh, it doesn't make any difference whether it's true.
But, when it was a contest, and I didn't have any hard feelings. As a matter of fact, I guess statute of limitations has run out by now. A few days after I had lost, the guy that I lost to called me up and said, "Got a little problem my wife got this ticket over in Tullahoma. Is there any way you might be able to help ease the pain of that?
Yeah.
And I said, at the time, it was a different era. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, that doesn't happen anymore.
I said, I believe I can help you with that.
There you go.
And so,
I can scratch you back.
yeah.
Hey, before we run out of time here, I want to remind everybody that this Saturday night at the Bell Buckle Banquet Hall, Peggy Burton and her band is playing for the Valentine's Buffet.
The Valentine's Day is always a fabulous event. They
Yeah.
have the most beautiful setup, and the food is awesome. And I'm bringing some guests to sing, and I hope that a lot of people will be there. But they're very gracious. We enjoy it. It's fun.
And something else that's going to happen, and this is going to be the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March. Weldon Payne has wrote a play several years ago called Beyond the Rain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that is about a young woman who gives up a lot of her productive life to take care of her mother who has Alzheimer's. And that's going to be performed, and all of the money that goes from the ticket sales will go to Alzheimer's Tennessee. And let's see, it's not a great big cast, but Noel Clements is directing it, who is an excellent director. So get tickets for that. It's for a great cause, and Weldon Payne's just one of my heroes.
Oh,
Yeah,
mine
he's a
too.
great
I love
guy.
He's
Weldon.
what a great writer, author, and just a great guy.
And has a
he is.
fantastic sense of humor.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Through the
Yes.
Pain. He's written a section in the Tullahoma News for years, and Manchester Times for
Right.
years and years, giving his
When-
reflections.
When did you say that is?
That's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March
Okay, 1st of March.
at the MAC.
At the Mac and Manchester.
At the MAC in Manchester.
They do a lot
So
of neat things.
we have a whole lot of good folks coming on the show today to share other information with you. But right now we're going to take you to a quick commercial break, and we will be back with more Just Plain Living.
Keith Barnett here at Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma. Check out this 2018 Kia Stinger, yours today for only $370 a month. Kia is the power to surprise with its 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Stop by Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma and let us tell you why we are #1 in customer satisfaction. That's Russell Barnett Kia in Tullahoma, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. And remember, my question is, why buy anywhere else?
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Can you imagine a world without beauty, without color, without creativity, without art? Well, neither can we. Keep arts alive and experience all kinds of arts and crafts at the 2nd Annual Arts Alive Tullahoma on the newly renovated lawn of the South Jackson Civic Center, May 25th and 26th. For details, visit TullahomaArtsCouncil.com and come spend the day at our fun, family-friendly arts festival.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us on the set now two lovely ladies, Judy and Michelle, and they're here today to talk about Trinity Daycare.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I thought it was really nice of John to just mention that wonderful play that's going to support Alzheimer's Tennessee. Our organization, Trinity Adult Daycare, was established 25 years ago to help those individuals that have dementia. They're extremely difficult to care for at home and still try to earn a living. And so the daycare was set up so that people could drop off their loved ones, go to work, come back and pick them up. They're well cared for. They try to stimulate the individual and increase whatever their level of thinking is, and it has been very, very successful.
And if you've never dealt with that as a caretaker of an Alzheimer's patient,
It's hard.
You have no idea
It's
how
very
important that service is.
My other job was a nurse, and I used to tell individuals, in the hospital it takes 3 nurses watching your loved ones for 8 hours or 2 nurses watching them for 12 hours, but then they get to go home and rest. Your job is 24/7, so it is a difficult one.
Right.
But a Trinity Daycare is the answer, and what's so spectacular about it, and this is something that all of the viewers need to remember, it is the only center. There's only one for 4 counties. And the next one is all the way in Knoxville. There's no way that you can take your loved one to Knoxville and still hold on a job. So here in Tullahoma, we have a great daycare. They can have up to 12 individuals. They have a beautiful house that has been renovated to meet all their needs. And
we've also set up a community garden there where the participants can come out and they can enjoy the garden. And there's lots of activities for them to do. And it's used for respite. If there were somebody, if you were the caregiver, which is the most difficult part, and you had to go to a doctor's appointment or take somebody or just needed a day, it doesn't have to be for the whole week, but you could come for a few hours or a couple of days.
Right.
So there's some options.
So the reason we're so beautifully attired today, we
And they
wanted
indeed
to
are.
sparkle in every way possible. We're holding a gala. Now, we've had 13 previous galas, and there's so many wonderful galas in the Tullahoma area, but ours is called the Diamond and Denim Gala. And so we want everyone to sparkle on that particular night. When you arrive, we have a basket of black velvet surprises. Inside maybe a diamond, maybe another gemstone, but that's always a real hit of the evening. But what we're going to do a little differently this time is door prizes and recognize those individuals that sparkle. You know, that
There are
really,
many of you that sparkle out there in Tullahoma.
and have fun with it. We're wearing denim, you may be able to see, and then you just do whatever you want on top and have fun. It's going to be at Lakewood Country Club. It's going to be on April 27th. And we're advertising it a little bit early so that you can pick out your outfit and pick out your gems. It'll be from 6 to 10. We'll have a lot of activities going on.
And we realize that there are so many fundraisers for nonprofits, but this is our only fundraiser for the year, our largest fundraiser for the year. So we're very happy to have all of you support us. It's a fun evening. But it's very important for these wonderful people.
Somebody's going to win a diamond in this deal.
yeah.
They're going to win
right?
3 diamonds.
3 diamonds,
Yeah,
okay.
3 people are going to win a
Okay.
diamond. The cost is $70 a ticket. The things that we're going to have are music, a beautiful dinner that'll be served to us. You can see on the screen there's a wonderful phone number right there so that you can go ahead and make your reservation. We're going to have a live auction that is always really exciting for the stuff. The wonderful donations that the Tullahoma business people give us.
Very generous.
We are just amazed at their generosity and their kindness year after year. But we want everybody to come. That's the fun part.
Is the live auction still part of that deal? Or is
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
We
okay.
have a silent auction, everything from $10 all the way up to $200 if that's what you want to bid. The live auction is pretty wild. People get a little crazy when they see some of the things that are being auctioned off. But we want to appeal to everyone because truly everyone can have a problem with dementia
Absolutely.
in their
Right.
family,
Absolutely.
and it has nothing to do with how healthy you are. My own mother had Alzheimer's and
So
I
did mine
lost
as
her
well.
to it. So I want to support Trinity in any way I can. We just had a trivia night at Trinity Lutheran Church, who was kind enough to donate the building that we now use. And they're always doing wonderful things. The Coca-Cola Company, the Jacobs Company. We have individuals in Tullahoma that just give us a financial donation.
Which we appreciate very much.
Oh, absolutely. We are a charity, a 501(c). We only use our money to benefit the charity, nothing else. And I'm trying really hard this year to get a live artist who will create some piece of work right there while we're watching. And then we're going to auction it off.
Oh,
There are
that'll be neat.
trips, there are things for the home, there are personal items, there are men's things, women's things. We just want everyone to come.
Okay, and we can't emphasize enough how important this is.
It is.
This organization gets funded because, as you just
It's
mentioned,
the only one.
you're probably going to be touched by this at some point in your life.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And that's I don't know how some people do it actually. You know, taking care of a loved one. This
It is
such a
pretty
blessing to be able
amazing.
to be
If
able
you
to
have
do
a
that.
large family, it's even difficult because they have to be watched for safety. They have to be watched for putting things in their mouths. The regression of Alzheimer's, you can never tell whether it'll be rapid or slow, and it can be a 20-year process,
Right.
or it can be a very swift process.
You mentioned a moment ago too that, and it's not like that you just take your loved one there and leave them,
No,
and they
no.
just sit there the whole time.
No,
You
no.
guys are interacting with
We're
them.
interactive with them. There are lovely caregivers there.
My
and
grandchildren, when they are here, we always go in there, they sing, they play games.
Yeah.
Multitude of people will come in and do different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of our board members have had loved ones there, their family, and that has been enticing them to be part of the board and make this continue to happen. So
We want all the physicians to start making referrals there,
Right.
because it's much better to get the individual to a daycare center when they still have some cognition and you can work with them.
Right.
And as I said, you can't tell how fast the disease is going to process.
Right.
So we want everybody to come out for our gala, have a great time, support a wonderful organization, and please dress.
Right.
Please dress
And tell
and have
them, tell them
fun.
again what the date
The date is April the 27th, the Lakewood Country Club. Please call Trinity Care Center. We'll be glad to send
Numbers
you out
right
a
on the-
ticket.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Okay.
thank you for
And
All
your
right.
support.
And you called that number, right, to get tickets?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. All right. Ladies, thank you so
And
much for coming by.
thank
today.
you so much
So
for
nice to
having
see
us.
Thank you very
today,
much.
We've
really.
enjoyed it,
All
and
right.
we're looking forward to our gala.
Yeah.
All right, folks,
Join
we'll be
us.
back in just a moment with more living right after this.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Talking history about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman.
And this is Pat Welch, and we are here today for segment 98 of the Conversations with John and Pat.
Got a song here, one that was sung many, many years ago. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. If you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home. Tell all my friends I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. That's a sweet old song.
John, the last 3 or 4 segments we've had, you going back to the good old songs.
Well, after so many segments, you know, you think, well, we've done that one.
Go
We've
back to
done
the standbys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been great.
Pat, nobody realizes this, but I've always been interested in history, and I saved this newspaper from Thursday morning, September 3rd, 1964. And
John, I've been in your house many times.
Yeah.
And it's neat. You've got all kinds of historical stuff, but it doesn't look like a hoarder lives there. You've done well with it.
I try to keep things orderly so my wife won't get mad at me for being too
Did that come from
cluttered.
your study? Was it in your study?
Yeah, if you know, up there at the top on my shelf in my study, I've got things in plastic bags up there, which is old newspapers. I've got them all.
Not old lunches, newspapers.
Newspapers. Right. Here I am. Let's see. There it is. That's 64?
Yeah, that Medicare you think was there forever. It just got announced on that newspaper.
Show them this picture a little closer right here, Philip. There he is. That's Philip took a shot of, you know who that is, don't you, Pat?
Sergeant York.
Sergeant York. Hey, my brother and I, when we were young, we had a record that had Archie Campbell done. The year was 1917. The Bloody War was on. The call came out from Washington, "We want your native son." The call to arms, the battle cry, the fight for victory was idle chatter to the folks in Pall Mall, Tennessee. The call came out to Alvin York, a mighty mountain man. He said, "I will not go to war," he says, "it is against God's plan. Although I fear no man on earth, I will obey God's will, because the Bible says, thou shalt not kill." And
that's awesome, John. From memory.
Well, fair.
And last week we couldn't remember David Hess's name.
Well, you go back several years and maybe.
Well,
anyway.
That's part of the prognosis.
But anyway, Alvin York was born up near Jamestown, Tennessee, at a place called Pall Mall. A few years ago, my wife and I decided to take off up into there and visit the home of Alvin York. And we met his son that day, and maybe some other relative there at the place. But Tennessee was very proud of him because of his heroics in World War I. In World War I, there was an offensive going on, and Alvin York with several other men were trying to take a machine gun nest. And Alvin York, he had captured a German that had shot at him but missed him every time. And they captured him. The guy gave up and captured him. And then they were walking a little forward and using him as a sort of a shield, I guess you might say. They're going to take him in. But anyway, a machine gun wiped out 6 of his men. They all hit the ground, and Alvin York went toward that machine gun nest, and I won't go into all the details of what he did, but he killed 25 men, and he took in 119 captured 119 Germans.
Well, they thought it was almost a division or something. He killed so many that they were convinced, and they surrendered because they thought there was a tremendous amount of
somehow they asked him how many did he have, and he said, well, I got a plenty. And the tale goes that he would shoot these Germans. He saw them in a line, and from hunting back in the mountains, he knows that if you pick off a group of turkeys that's walking in a line, you get the one in the back. They can't hear good. Hit the one in the back, next one, the next one, the next one. Then the front ones don't know what's happening, so he picked off 6 like that.
And when the Germans did realize what was happening, they threw their arms up. They thought it was a whole lot more people than one man.
And he and his the ones that were left out of his group walked these men back to where they could capture them officially, and he was from that time forward a hero. Now, not much was made of it back at that particular time, but a year or two later, his acclaim grew even more. He won the Medal of Honor, and he was recognized and honored by 3 other countries, France being one of those countries. I can't remember the other. But he came back to Tennessee. After the war was fought, and he wanted to settle in where he was raised up. Well, and
he wanted to let the educational level of his not just his family, but everybody in that area there to come up. And they
were the poor mountain people.
States set up York Institute.
That's right.
High school there. And
several businessmen in Nashville got together and helped that get used. Well, those businessmen helped him buy a farm that was closer to the Wolf River, and that's where he was to live out his rest of his days. Well, he got in some financial difficulties. Later on the Depression came about, and he got into some tax difficulties and this sort of thing. But and all along he was a great man, although he did have difficulty afterwards, and he remained very humble.
Somebody counseled him when he felt like he had to be a pacifist and could not serve. But there was some verse that somebody gave him that kind of eased his conscience.
Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God's. And once he soaked that in, then he went on to fight as he did, and he served the country well. Go to the next picture.
His faith remained strong his whole life. He was really involved in church when he got back home.
There's he and his wife back home after the war. He was a slim, tall, scrapping fella. They say when he was this pastor that was played in the movie by Gregory Peck. I have that right, don't I? Is that right, Philip? Cooper.
Gary Cooper. Now, Gary Cooper played Alvin York, but you're talking about the preacher now, I think.
Well, the preacher was played by Walter Brennan.
Okay.
And there, I want to tell you a little story here in Tullahoma. We have a guy named Clint Clarno who is here in town, and he paints. He's a very good painter. He's a painter. He paints scenes on windows and so forth. But Clint's been around a long time, and Clint, his great granddaddy was Walter Brennan. So, and their child, and you've had him on. He's been on this program before. His name is Brennan Clarno, and he's named for Walter Brennan, the actor.
And he played the preacher in that movie.
Played the preacher in the movie. And show that next picture of Gary Cooper and Alvin York sitting together talking about the movie. I believe that movie was done in 1941. That was one movie I remember so well that Tommy Allen over there at East yearly showed that to his students, and I'm thinking how good that was, you know, to do that. And if you folks, Memorial Day or any other time, you want to do something that remembers soldiers, go toward Jamestown and visit.
John, I hate that you spent all that money to get up there, because I believe somebody with the state got a big exhibit there and traveled with it, and it was at South Jackson for at least a month. And it was really, really interesting.
So does the wall. I mean, here you're chastising me for not going, for not waiting. I mean, the wall comes around too.
I was appealing to your sense of frugalness. And so I thought you might squirm some, but it didn't work. But it had a miniature display of that area of ground in World War I where he captured all those, and it really, really was interesting.
Well, he was a man that was meant for that particular day and time, and he came home and lived a fairly decent life. I think he died at 76. Died at age 76. He had a lot of health problems the last 10 years of life, but we are here today to remember Alvin Sergeant York.
That was a great segment, John, and that was segment 98. We have 2 more to go before we take a little bit of a break. If you want to hear us a marathon 1 through 100, get in touch with management. We hope that we can continue on. Thank you all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Have you heard the news? Russell Barnett Automotive Family has launched its new website, russellbarnett.com. Very user-friendly. Over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Online credit applications. Hometown auto rental. Customer testimonials. Trade appraisals. Certified collision center. Service department scheduling. Too many reasons to mention why I keep asking the question, why buy anywhere else?
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and it's Black History Month this month. And last week, my friend and our Councilman and Alderman Jackie Duncan was on Tom Corrington's show, and I tasked him to come and spend some time with us during Black History Month and have some conversations on this show. And so Jackie's with us today, and glad to have you here. Who'd you bring with you?
Oh, I brought my good friend here, Coleman March Sr. Yeah, Coleman is a fantastic musician. He's been the glue to several organizations that I'm a part of for a number of years now, and I just thought this would be a good opportunity for him to highlight some of the things that we're about to do, that we're working on for Black History, and one program in particular has been going on for just about 33rd year, I believe. 33rd year for this particular program started at Arnold Engineering Development Center. And we were just a group of us got together and started celebrating a Black History program, and we had an AEDC choir there at one time, didn't we?
You worked out there as well, Coleman?
Yes, I did. He did. We're both retired from there now, and had a great program and just a lot of volunteers. Formed a choir. We had the AEDC choir, and used to have the Black History program at the Officers Club there.
Yeah, actually, we held it for quite a few years at different locations. Motlow campus was one of the areas that we held the annual event. And we even had it at Tullahoma High School one year.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
and
too.
But for the past few years, we've been holding it over in Franklin County, either at the Friendship Tabernacle, which is on the Cowan Highway, or either at Elk River Tabernacle, which is on the 87 Crestview Drive. And this year it'd be held at the Elk River Tabernacle, 87 Crestview Drive.
Now, Coleman, are you? What was your discipline in your job at Arnold Center? What was your craft or whatever you did?
You know, sometimes I like to say that I was a jack of all trades. Initially, I started to work in Arnold in 1974 at the steam plant. I was within the utilities section, and I was there for 8 years. And I went from there to the operations center as one of the coordinators there from the operations center.
Okay.
From there, I went to production control, did planning and scheduling for HVAC, pipe fitters, and roads and grounds. From there, I went into went into roads and grounds and spent about 7 years there in supervision, and my last 15 years were with one of the subcontractors, and I managed the janitorial service at Arnold. So,
okay. I wanted to ask that question where I could ask this question.
Okay.
All right. What is your music background? Because Jackie has told me that not only this, but several other choirs and music endeavors you're involved in. Where'd you get your music?
My music background goes all the way back to I first started piano at 11 years old, and I
child protege.
Took lessons and whatnot, but you know, the good Lord blessed me with an ear as well. So
that's very important.
I've got the technical or the fundamentals from the music teaching and the lessons and whatnot, but yet still I use one to kind of complement the other.
Right.
And so my mother, she always wanted me to stay with the music, and And so I actually graduated from high school and went to Tennessee State and majored in music. But Uncle Sam had some other.
Oh, doesn't he always?
Yeah, and my senior year I was drafted out. Had I been a science major, I could have stayed in school and with a deferment. But if you were an education major at that time, you know,
you had to go.
You were out of luck. Yeah, you had to go. So I ended up while I was there, and after being drafted, I decided I would go ahead and just volunteer so I could take a school. So I got into what's called Air Defense Acquisition Radar Maintenance, and so I took another year, and I got into that area there, and
smart.
Spent my last 2 years on the island of Okinawa at one of the Nike Herc missile sites. So that's kind of my life.
So back to the music. The music's always been in you, and you say you were blessed with an ear, and you know I have a decent ear. But not a great one, but I know how important that is as a writer and as a singer to be able to hear what you know. You might not know how to read the notes, but if they give you just a minute, you can harmonize.
That's right. That's right. And I tell my students, I do private lessons, and I say you use one to, like I said earlier, to compensate for the lack of what you might have in the other.
Right.
And I've experienced both, having to depend on the ear to get me over some difficult reading at the time, you know, because and then again sometimes I don't hear what I think I should be hearing, and the music there tells me to do otherwise.
Right. Yeah. That's where I get in trouble.
Yeah.
And the dynamics.
Yes.
You know, on a sheet of music. You know, they're dynamic markings that, and I never want to be the one who's singing when you're supposed to be holding your breath right there towards the end.
Absolutely.
You know, where they're holding their breath to make that last big push, and here you come. Wide open right through the middle of that break. That's not good.
He does have a good ear, though. Sometimes he has to be the musician, and then he has to be the director, and then whatever else, you know. So he's good at that. And actually, we're with this group that we're doing right now that's putting on this program.
Give us some information on that before we run out of time here.
Sunday, February 24th at 4 o'clock at the Elk River District Tabernacle, 87 Crestview Drive in Winchester.
Everybody's invited.
Everybody's invited. No admission, no charge for admission, anything. And we just have a great time at Big Gospel Extravaganza.
About how long is the show? A couple hours? Is it a couple hours long?
A little less than that.
About an hour and a half on that.
Yeah. That's just about right. Hour sometimes isn't quite enough, and 2 hours is a little bit much.
Great music and everything, just enough. Got time to get the job done and not bore anybody. Everybody
filled up and ready to go.
Filled up and ready to go when they leave there.
Now, one thing I want to point out, Jackie. Now, there's no charge, but we do pace to play.
There is an opportunity to give.
Right. And the reason for that is that the proceeds that we gather from this event actually goes back into the community to students who apply for some assistance, and
5 counties.
Very good.
Yeah, and we at this event we'll give away probably in the neighborhood. We've given away as much as $2,000 at the event.
Wonderful.
To various ones in like $500 increments, but.
That's how you change the world.
There it is.
Yes.
Ripple effect.
Ripple effect.
Anyway, you know about that now.
That's how you change the world.
That's
right there.
That's right.
One gesture at a time.
Pass it forward. You know, when you get blessed, you pass it on.
Well, listen, thank you, Coleman, for being with us. Appreciate it very much.
Enjoyed it.
And know that you're always welcome to come back. What I'd love to do is y'all get together sometime and get a trio or 4 or something and come up here and come on the show and do a piece or 2 for us.
We see if we can work that out.
You know, and it doesn't have to. It can be any month.
Okay, right, yeah, that's
As far as I'm concerned, every month is Black History Month and White History Month.
Amen.
It's America Month.
We're making history every day we live.
Every day we're here.
we live, we're making
There
history.
you go.
Yeah.
Thank y'all
Everybody.
both so much for being here. Appreciate you
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you.
And your gifts and how you share them. It's wonderful.
you.
Jackie,
It's a blessing.
You still on task.
All right.
Remember that,
All right.
okay?
Got you, buddy.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Maiden. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tie it yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com.
to find our handcrafted designs for
The Cock of the Walk.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. I am happy today to have on the set with me Eric Peterson. Hey, Eric Peterson, I don't see you a lot, do I?
I know, we never see each other.
I know, I'm happy to know that you're here talking about the Red Velvet Cake Walk.
Yes, the Red Velvet Cake Wars.
War.
Red Velvet Cake
I have Cake Walk from the old
Red
days
Velvet
in my
Cake
head.
War.
And I'm curious to know, where does war come in? I don't know this play. I have
Okay,
not seen
so I
it.
guess to give you the 30-second pitch.
Okay.
The main character is going through a psychologically stressful time, and for reasons that I don't want to get into,
Right.
She has been given a court-appointed psychologist to prove that she is mentally stable. So her two cousins decide that the best way to demonstrate her mental stability is for her to head up the family reunion.
Okay.
Now the family reunion is typically hosted by Aunt Lamerle, who is, if you just imagine Aunt Lamerle, I'm sure whatever you conjure is going to be pretty accurate. Yeah.
As you call her name.
The family reunion is Aunt Lamerle's thing, and she is not happy that
Somebody else is going to be
exactly.
involved.
And so there's an argument that devolves into the main character Gaynell telling her that she's going to make Uncle Aubrey the best red velvet cake that he's ever laid tongue to.
Oh, wow.
And then you very shortly find out after that Aunt Lamerle is famous statewide in the state of Texas for her red velvet cake. So that's where the Red Velvet Cake War comes into play. But yeah, it's a family reunion, Southern fried comedy. There are things that you know, I was born and raised here, and there are just things that I think anybody who was raised in the South can.
They're going to catch on to what's going on.
Yes, exactly. They'll catch on to it, and there's a nostalgia
Yeah.
Feeling there and a connection there. That
Well,
I
there
think
was a fabulous article in the paper yesterday.
Yes,
I hope everybody will open that, and you can read a lot about the play. Let's just say when it is and
Right.
all
So
that.
it runs the 14th through the 16th, through the 17th.
It's
It's
like
one weekend.
weekend.
Yep. So it's open. It opens on Valentine's Day, which is a Thursday, and then it runs through that Sunday.
What a great thing to do on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Go have a few laughs and go out to eat. And wait, are you serving cake?
I do believe so. We will be serving red velvet cupcakes.
So you
in
can
the
have your cake
concession
and eat it
stand.
too?
Yes, you can. You can
That
have your
sounds
cake and eat it too. Yeah, so the show times are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are at 7,
7
and then the
o'clock.
Sunday matinee is at 2:30.
And I'm assuming there's an intermission.
Yes, there's a 15-minute intermission. It's actually a relatively short show. With the intermission, it runs about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Good. And I assume the museum is open. We
Museum
always
will be open
invite
as
people
always.
to go
Yes, the
to
Mitchell Museum.
And what's the price?
Cost is $15 for adults or $13 for students. You can get tickets by calling South Jackson at 931-455-5321.
Right there it is. Write
It's
it
right there
down,
on the bottom of the screen. Or you can go to southjackson.org, or you can come by our office. We are open Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and you can
pick
talk
up
to the
your
wonderful
tickets.
Renee Tyler,
Right.
and she will hook you up and get you set and on your way.
I always encourage people to get their tickets early, either online or at the
Oh, of
office,
course. You
because
just never know.
you don't have to stand in line.
Especially on a day like Valentine's Day. One, you
Oh,
don't have
yeah,
to stand in
it may
line,
be
and
packed up.
you just don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think you've got a good cast. I saw the picture, but
It's
I
a
didn't have
fabulous
time
cast.
to read it because I didn't get the
Yeah.
paper till late last night. So who are some of the cast members?
I was about to, I've almost become a broken record. I always say that I get really lucky anytime I direct a show here at South Jackson, that I just always wind up somehow
best
with a
cast.
marvelous cast, and that has nothing to do with me. It's just we have a talented community.
We really
and,
do.
and
We really
just a
do.
great bunch of people to pull from. So it almost doesn't matter who shows up. I'm going to be able to get what I need.
Yeah.
But we have Cynthia Redekop, Buffy Davis, Amy Hardaway. Connor Rostel, a bunch of faces, some faces that are familiar to South Jackson,
and some, that, are
new.
Is this Connor's first
I think
play?
this is certainly not Connor's first endeavor at South Jackson,
I
but
know,
it is
but
his
his
first
play.
show. Yes, it is first
And
play.
I'm impressed by that because he's young and he's talented
Yeah.
in so many directions. So this will be a first for him.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. And it runs, remember, it's just one weekend.
That's right,
But
just one
sometimes we
weekend.
run plays for 2 weekends. I know we have Beauty and the Beast coming up, and that's going
That's
to
in
run.
April, and that runs 2 weekends.
That runs 2
But
weekends.
the Red Velvet Cake War is a one-weekend event, February 14th through 17th.
So think about Valentine's Day and what you want to do on Valentine's Day. And it's nice to have something locally
Absolutely.
happening,
Absolutely
so that you don't
local.
have to go out of town to have a good time.
And if you're married with kids or not married with kids or whatever your situation is, it is a G-rated show. There's really nothing inappropriate about it. So bring your kids. It's a family-friendly show, family fun endeavor.
And be prepared to laugh.
And be prepared to laugh. Yeah, there's some good points. I mean, we've been rehearsing basically since about January 2nd or 3rd, right after the new year.
Right.
And so I've seen this show, I can't tell you how many times, and there are still points that I crack up every time because it's just funny.
That's
It's just
great.
funny.
I'm due for a good laugh. Because there are a lot of people behind the scenes that don't always get listed or get recognition, who's running your sound, your lights?
We have we have a pretty small crew. I mean, it's a small cast. The cast is
Right.
only 12 people, and the crew reflects that too. I'm doing a bunch of the backstage stuff. Heather, my assistant director, is also stage managing.
That's Heather Kleinfeld.
Yep, Robert
Great
Austell is running sound. And then actually Lisa Wiley, whose daughters do PACT stuff, which is the Performing Arts for Children and Teens, which
she's
is our
involved?
children's program. Well, she is the one who is making the cupcakes because she owns a cupcake business, but she also wants to get in on the technical side of things, so she is my lighting director.
That's awesome.
And I'm
So
kind
that
of
means
working
we're
with
gonna
her.
have some really classy cupcakes.
I really hope so. I mean, I'm sure that she will go above and beyond. And
There'll
she's
be a few
always
people out there that'll show up
amazing.
just for the cupcakes, and then they'll find out they had a
They're
great
gone.
show.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you get a great show by accident. That's fine with me.
There may be people out there thinking, well, hey, I'd like to get on the stage at South Jackson, or I'd like to help with sound, or whatever.
Yeah.
What do they need to do?
They can either call our office at, again, 931-455-5321. You can email us at office@southjackson.org. Or, I mean, honestly, you can email me. I'm the one that deals with most
Or
of
me.
it. If you want to deal with especially if you want to deal with anything technical, lighting, stage managing, prop building, construction, sound, anything like that. That's kind of the stuff that I tend to head up there. So you can email me at erikpetersen2@gmail.com. That's erikpetersen2@gmail.com. You can email me, just say, hey, I'd like to get into volunteering at South Jackson, kind of here's what I'd like to do, and I will make sure that you get put either in touch with the right people, or I'll get you started if it's something that really falls under my purview.
And we're also always looking for members, because membership helps us to keep the building open. And
it does. I can't just, I mean, obviously, you know, we pull in revenue from shows, but
right.
Having that kind of guaranteed steady membership
is really
income
important.
is really important for a nonprofit like us.
And I don't know if we have time. We might want to talk about this another season, because we're on the Red Velvet Cake Wars. But I know we have a huge season coming up next year, and you can get season tickets.
Yeah, season tickets are amazing.
And you get a better deal for all the shows.
We've got Beauty and the Beast coming up in April. And then, yeah, we just have...
But anyway, we always have a great season. And don't forget to get your tickets for the Red Velvet Cake War. And please, plan to come and have a good time, because it's just going to be sheer fun. That's all there is to it. Any last words?
Let's see. No, I don't think so. I was trying to think of something clever to say.
From the play.
From the play, yeah. Nothing really fits in this particular venue, though. That's all right.
Well,
but yeah, make sure you come out and see the show. It really is. It's a great show with a great cast, and I can't recommend it enough as a way to spend that weekend.
Thank you, Erik. You did a fabulous job there at South Jackson. We'll be back with more stuff.
I want some.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department. Need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We are excited to have this video to show on Black History Month. I know you'll enjoy it.
Okay, Cree, whenever you're ready.
I hug you and squeeze you and kiss you and put coins in your eyes. That's why we gonna be kids next door forever. I am Kiragakash. Welcome to the city of Atlantis. Angelica, you know that you're mean to those babies, and I've had enough. I will not let you bother them again.
Works for me. This is Cree Summer, and her voice, it's kind of legendary.
I am best known for being Penny from Inspector Gadget.
Ballin' Brain, they look suspicious. Inspector Gadget, are you all right?
Susie Carmichael.
Who really stood up to Angelica and took care of those babies. And I play Elma Was Wonderful.
Princess Kida from the lost city of Atlantis. Loki Gone. There you go. There's the taste of some of my greatest hits.
I knew Uncle Gadget would never rob a bank.
Let's see, I started voice acting when I was 11 years old. My father, Don Franks, was the voice of Sabretooth from the X-Men. He also was the very first person to ever voice Boba Fett from Star Wars, which is such a cool-ass thing. And he had already been cast on Inspector Gadget, and he asked if they would be kind enough to read his daughter. And they said, sure, we'll give her a shot. And it literally took off like wildfire from there.
Hi, my name's Susie. What's yours?
I know for Susie, one of the most important things was that she sound smart and that she's very well spoken, because there were not a lot of brown girls in cartoons. As a matter of fact, there still aren't.
Beyond all this, Cree is unique for another reason. Historically, white voice actors generally did the voices for cartoon characters of all races. Cree has thrived in a space that has often overlooked people who look like her.
Ow! Come on in, boys! I just put on some mothballs.
What if some talent agent comes along and says I have...
I mean, let's face it, I do the voices of all the brown girls, and all the animated brown girls. There still ain't that many. Because there's this really crazy belief that black girls don't watch cartoons, and that we don't collect comics, and that we don't like sci-fi, and that's BS, man. We love it. I love when people of color come up to me and say, you don't know what it meant to me to see myself in a cartoon. I got one little black girl that I get to see that looks like me. Thank you so much. Oh, I get off on that, it's great.
There's this amazing picture of my coworker. It's him reading a Ninja Turtles book lying next to a Super Soaker. When the Super Soaker came out, it was a game changer. The slogan, "Wetter is better," was essentially a mantra for kids during summer break. So when I went to Atlanta to interview the guy responsible for all that, I had to show him the photo.
That's funny.
Lonnie Johnson invented the Super Soaker back in 1982. But that is not his only invention.
Well, I have over 100 patents.
Everything from the Nerf gun to a thermoelectric energy converter. He also worked on NASA's Galileo mission to Jupiter and alongside the US military.
The first Super Soaker actually I made in my shop in my basement in the evenings when I would come home from work. And at the time I was actually working on the stealth bomber program back when it was highly classified. And I actually couldn't even tell my wife what I was working on during the daytime. It was that top secret.
The original name for the Super Soaker was the Drencher.
We ran into a challenge regarding the name because another inventor claimed it. So we changed the name to Super Soaker just to avoid having to deal with that.
Super Soaker is definitely a way better name. When he started, Lonnie wasn't trying to create a toy for kids.
I was working on a new type of heat pump that would use water as a working fluid instead of Freon. And I was experimenting with some nozzles that I machined. And I shot a stream of water across the bathroom, and I thought, geez, maybe I should put this hard science stuff aside and work on something fun like a water gun. It still works.
And this brings me back to a previous point. Lonnie Johnson is a super genius scientist. This is his lab. And this is what he's working on now.
Yeah, right now I'm working on advanced battery technology. My goal is to develop a battery that will store about 3 times the energy of a lithium-ion battery.
In comparison, the Super Soaker might not seem as hard science, but it was still a really, really important invention.
Nearly everyone remembers Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
It's a beautiful day in this...
But not everyone knows that this cardigan-clad king of children's TV, Fred Rogers, was actually a pioneer who challenged racial stereotypes in media. Enter Francois Clemens.
Francois Scarborough Clemens.
And his role as Officer Clemens made him one of the first recurring black characters on a children's TV show.
When I started There were 2-3 shows, period, on television that employed a black character.
Francois grew up during the Civil Rights Movement and times of great racial tension in the U.S.
So when Fred asked me to be a police officer, Fred, are you sure? Do you know what policemen represent in the community where I was raised? And then he started talking about children needing helpers and the positive influence that I could have for young children. My heart opened as I listened to him.
He accepted the role, not knowing he would end up playing Officer Clemens for 30 years. And one of his most memorable scenes is also one of his favorites.
There are many ways to say I love you. It's a very big deal for me to be putting my feet in the water with Fred.
During a time of segregation, the symbolism wasn't lost on Francois.
To say that he didn't know what he was doing, or that he accidentally stumbled into integration or talking about racism or sexism, that's not Mr. Rogers. It was well planned and well thought out, and I think it was very impactful. There are many ways to say I love you.
That impact was felt by many, but for Francois, it was personal.
I was in the studio one day. That particular day, he was filming the end of the show, and when he got to the part, he said, "You make every day a special day."
You know how? By just your being you.
And I swear it was like he was looking right into my eyes. And when the music stopped, I said, "Fred, were you talking to me?" And he said, "Yes, I have been talking to you for years, but you heard me today."
The Dismal Swamp is an environment that has hazardous conditions associated with it. The heat, you got poisonous snakes, and mosquitoes come out at certain times of the year, and it's unbearable. But when you think about some of the torture the enslaved people endured, I think if most of us were living during that day and we had an option to go in the swamp and live freely, I think a lot of us would take that option.
From the 17th century until the Civil War, escaped slaves, known as Maroons, found refuge in the Great Dismal Swamp. Located on the border of Virginia and North Carolina, the swamp was wild and inhospitable. Nevertheless, it was there that runaways created self-sufficient communities, almost entirely cut off from the outside world. For the past 10 years, archaeologist Dan Sayers from American University has been studying these settlements.
Part of what I did was develop this sort of research program called the Great Dismal Swamp Landscape Study. Most of my focus has been on archaeological discovery of sites out in the swamp, as well as historical research, and then, of course, trying to understand it. Before we started our research, there was a sense people lived in the swamp for a variety of reasons, but we really wanted to go in the swamp and find remnants of their lives out there. And sure enough, we've been able to look at several sites associated with several of these different groups.
Probably a 1790 to 1825 or 30 nail that we found in one of the resistance community settlements.
I'm sure the population went up and down, but very strong potential for any given moment for thousands of people that went out in the Great Dismal and formed these multi-generational communities. It was a radical form of resistance in a good way.
The runaways who escaped slavery risked everything to be free, even if it meant living in the harsh environment of the swamp. One former slave who briefly lived in the swamp was a man named Moses Grandy.
I've done family genealogy research in which I've uncovered a slave narrative by Moses Grandy, who I believe is my great-great-grandfather's uncle. That's Edmund Grandy, my great-great-grandfather's headstone, who was born in 1827. He was a waterman and a boatsman on the Dismal Swamp Canal, which was being hand-dug. And he describes very vividly in the slave narrative how they were treated, what they endured, how they were tortured. If you had that kind of experience and you had an opportunity to come out to the swamp and live freely under, challenging conditions, you're gonna have a hard time getting them out of there. The idea of Africans setting up communities and being in charge of their destiny in the swamp, I don't want people to ever forget this history.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the paint. Uh-oh. I just knocked a tree over. This is the paint doctor. I got the color wheel. Now, you know what a color wheel is? It is the wheel at the paint works where you pick all your colors to paint your room. It could be a multicolored beard. It could be a underarm fan. You never can tell. One thing we do know is that it's time to paint. You can make your wife very happy if you go to your house and paint some rooms, or you paint the outside of the house, the inside of the house. It makes them feel very good because you work hard for them and they like that. All women like to see their man sweat, They do. Honeydew is what they do. And you get to do it too. So you go to the paint works at 1960 North Washington Street and you see David Heikkinen over there, and he's the real paint doctor. He fixes you up with color. It's so nice when the color is right. Go to Paintworks today. Martin Senor. See? Martin Senor. Right there. Martin Senor at the Paintworks. Bye, and we see you next time. I'm burning up.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Folks in TV land on this, I started to say beautiful, but just snowy Thursday morning, February the 7th. We're glad to see you here, and thank you, TV ladies, for putting a good, sharp, colorful picture on the screen, and thank you, John, for that introduction. I mentioned last week that we were going to share a little bit of downtown history this morning. And it's one of the great, great institutions that everybody loved for many, many, many years. And that's a place called the Candy Kitchen at 121 North Atlantic Street. It's now occupied by the Tennessee Shoe Repair Company between Daddy Billy's and the Legal Service offices on North Atlantic Street. But the Candy Kitchen was a place that young and old would go and enjoy. It had the full fountain with Cokes and Pepsi Pepsi Cokes and Cherry Cokes and all that good stuff that were of the old school, nickel and dime, and they just enjoy them. The soda fountain, and they had the wire back chairs and the marble tables in there in the front part of the building that people would enjoy their sandwiches and their lunches and everything. And when not ping pong, but the machines, the pinball machines came, the Candy Kitchen got one of the first ones, and they had the magazine rack there that had all the current magazines that were real good. And now, the Candy Kitchen was called the Candy Kitchen because they made candy there. A fellow named Martin, that was superintendent of Avoca, I think was the earliest owner that I knew about, and they had a big kitchen in the very back part of the building. They made taffy, and they made peanut brittle and divinity and chocolate fudge. It was a sight, and you could smell the aroma back there. One of the real prime candy makers, as I recall, was a fellow named George Cooley, and he had a great big copper kettle in the back room back there in the kitchen, and he would empty those bags of sugar into the big copper kettle, and he had some kind of bottled gas heat for it, and it would melt that sugar, and that white syrup would be in there, and then he'd start putting the other ingredients in it, like for peanut brittle or taffy or whatever it was, and a great big marble top work table that he would pour that warm candy in it, and it would all be the same level, and when it cooled off, why, they would cut it up in squares and take it up to the showcases up front. But it was so fresh and so good, and wasn't expensive at all. And they would have specials, like today would be Taffy Day or Peanut Brittle Day, and it was really great. And the McManus family bought Candy Kitchen, I think, back in the late 20s, early 30s, and Lonnie McManus, and they had a couple of sisters, and the day they ran it, continued making candy there. And later, Ms. R.T. Hill bought it and operated it for a while because she had her theater right next door there, the Strand Theater. And I think Claire O's folks owned the Candy Kitchen for a while. And later, I think the last owner as a restaurant was a fellow named Bob Good from Columbia, a Good's restaurant there that was operated during the latter part of Camp Forrest. But I will have to say this, those that operated and owned it catered to the teenagers, and they remodeled part of the kitchen and put 6 or 8 booths there, and they put a hardwood floor down. And the first Nickelodeon, to my knowledge, that came to Tullahoma was at the Candy Kitchen. And you could put a nickel in for a tune or a quarter in for 6 tunes, and we learned to do the swing and the Big Apple and do the two-step and the foxtrot at the dance floor at the old Candy Kitchen. It was so much fun, and that's where everybody gathered after a football game or after a pep rally. And if any of our parents knew we were going to the Candy Kitchen after school, that's fine. And it was really great. Never any alcoholic beverages or beer or anything like that was sold there, again, because they catered to the young people and teenagers. They had so much fun there. And sometime in the future, I've got a little film clip I'd like to share with you of the inside of the Candy Kitchen and the dance floor in the back, and everybody had so much fun there. And the food was real good that were made at the fountain, soda fountain, because they had fresh chicken salad and tuna salad, and no big heavy meals or country style food, but the typical sandwich and soda fountain type thing was so good. And boy, when they made a a milkshake, it wasn't just one scoop of ice cream. It was 4 or 5 big scoops of ice cream at the Candy Kitchen. A real remarkable, memorable place there that everybody enjoyed and liked to go there after school and meet your friends there. And you know, if nobody knew even where the post office was, they sure didn't know where the Candy Kitchen was. And everybody had a good time there for many, many years. We're grateful to the people that operated it and had that service that was offered there. And we we would like sometime to see another Candy Kitchen type operation here somewhere in Tullahoma. A lot of fond memories there at the Candy Kitchen in downtown Tullahoma. And this is not the end of the story, because there's a whole lot more to come. And we sure do thank you for watching, and everyone have a real good day.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. All right, Peggy, we're back, and
We had a nice show
Valentine's again, the Valentine's Dance at Bell Buckle Banquet Hall is this Saturday night. That's on the 9th, and Valentine's is on the 14th.
Exactly.
And want to remind you that Janie and the girls down at the flower shop, although they do not sell fresh flowers anymore, they still have silk arrangements, and they have all kinds of wonderful gifts and home decor. You need to find something for your baby for Valentine's, go to the flower shop, Flowers, Gifts, and Home Decor on Blackwell Street.
Because they have some good stuff.
Oh, great stuff, great
They
stuff.
really do.
Thanks for being with us. We love you, and we'll see you next time.